We're just throwing out champs for you because, again, we're in Fearless. Oh, it feels nice. None of this nonsense of best draft. Let's get creative. Remember that green is not a creative color. As we get Ambessa banned away second there.
What?
Vi too. Everyone, just don't worry, I'm scared. Don't worry, you're scared. Don't worry, I'm scared. Old video. It's for the Zoomers out there. Now, Vi is going to be one of the top-tier engaged junglers in the LEC. Parus still one of the best AD carries, especially when we're talking about range these days. Where else you guys want to go?
Well, Orianna, will it be added to the ban pool? I will say that Jojo, while he does have a deep pool, it feels like Orianna isn't in there. It's something that he definitely doesn't prioritize and would rather have an answer into the Ori rather than play it himself.
Yeah, I think it's because he's played so many games of his year, like 5 games of it, it's most played. Well, 6 now, I suppose. But
yep.
There's only a few people that I see in the league that are really able to punish in the Ori Azir matchup, like Caps, for example, tends to get these leads. But there aren't a huge amount of people that can really punish the Azir in LEC. So I think when you're able to get your hands on the Azir and just have a solid threat that kind of fits in all the compositions, it just makes a lot of sense.
Well, with Orianna gone, this does naturally raise the value of the Taliyah, but I mean, previously they first picked as a hen, so I don't expect, I was going to say I don't expect mid lane to actually be their priority, but now Taliyah Pantheon, alarm bells have to start ringing. Does this put pressure onto Navi to pick the Taliyah away from KOI?
Because you can also take the Ryze on the opposite side as well. It's a somewhat difficult matchup, but it may be just a case here where Navi kind of forego the mid lane pickup altogether, because then if you take the Ryze, you can always respond with the Anivia if Poby feels comfortable taking that pick. We haven't seen it from him quite yet, but at least you've got some sort of flexibility there. As Mundo definitely rising in priority, and it'll be another new pick added to Rhilech's pool.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's already got so many. That was just...
Does he count as a top lane pick? I mean,
well, he absolutely
technically does.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those flex champs that we've seen used throughout the league. Mainly, Vitality have put it into that top lane position, primarily Knock Knock.
I know what Dagda is saying, though, because Rhilech plays mainly top laners, but Vedius' point is also correct. It's a flex here, ladies and gentlemen. Like, you're both working together. It's rare that we have this synergy together, but it is nice to have you here. There's the Ryze locked in as well. The biggest question is, again, is Poby just going to have to face the Taliyah that you talked about, forego the matchup, and just say whoopee-doo? Because it's so powerful, right? Pantheon, Taliyah, snap engage, unreactable.
Well, I wonder if KOI will go for the Taliyah, because I think they were prepared to have it taken away from them, and as a result, they've just gone Aphelios Lulu in the bot lane. They're going full scaling. They're putting their trust in Supa once again. He's been having a great playoffs, and why not give him this hyper carry of the Aphelios?
Yeah, it feels to me like MKOI is saying, look, Jojo knows he's going to be fine. Cassiopeia, Anivia, the Taliyah. He's got an option regardless of how many bans go his way. So let's just secure that strong bot side. And now as Navi, you're in this uncomfortable spot. Because if you don't take an AD carry like a Jinx or a Caitlyn into this, well then they're going to get banned away. Or your support in the Bard, which would be the answer, would be banned away as well. So they secure the Bard.
We've seen Pike from Parus before. So why won't we see the Blitzcrank? Like, I feel like Blitz is so good into Lulu lanes.
It's so good.
That, like, especially with champs like Kate being open, I personally would have preferred that they maybe lock in something like a Caitlyn to give them range, and then bring out something like the Blitz. But they've decided on the Bard. I think that it's really good into low mobility champions, basically champions without dashes, because thanks to the Bard ultimate, it gives you great setup. It can be used as both a peel tool and also as an engage tool. And in the laning phase, I mean, you've got the beep slaps. So at least it gives you a little bit of power. Caitlyn is something I would be considering, and there is that Caitlyn ban coming through from KOI, as the Cassio that you were mentioning, Dagda, coming through from Navi.
Maybe the Taliyah goes with it then, by that merit.
Or Anivia.
I think it's Anivia, yeah.
But as you said, like, there is also that option where whatever's left open, Jojo can just slap that in anyway, so...
I think Taliyah makes the most sense to me if they're concerned about mid laners. It's just such a good pick for Jojo. It's a champion that I think he has way too much agency on, and is he's just too aggressive on it. He's just way too aggressive on it. So I think it makes sense. The Jhin going to be banned away makes a lot of sense. Paired nicely with the Bard, it can give you a lot of power in the bot lane 2 versus 2. And now with Corki gone, with Caitlyn gone, with Jhin gone, you're thinking about what are the lane-dominant AD carries you could potentially pair with the Bard, and it looks like for Samdi, MF is going to be the choice.
Yeah, I was also just having a quick look to see if Maynter has ever played Ryze in his career as well, because we did see Wunder taking the Ryze into the top side, but it wasn't Sorry, he hasn't played it thus far, so I'd be surprised if that went up to the top side. But it's maybe trying to bait something like the Anivia. But at least now having the MF, even if you take the Anivia, Miss Fortune likes short-range compositions where she can get value from the wall. That isn't really the case here when you're up against the Miss Fortune because she has that long range, but can still get a lot of value against things like the Ryze and also the Mundo.
Well, Cassante.
Oh my god,
Anivia,
let's go mega scaling. Okay.
Yeah. So, KOI's comp does not have the best engage. We saw a comp very similar to this come through from Heretics, and they contested G2 at almost every dragon. And our biggest criticism of that game was, can you stop contesting G2 at every single dragon? And you're right, it's a very mega scaling composition. One of the biggest differences between the Heretics draft and this one is jungle. Then they had a Mundo, now they have a Pantheon. Pantheon inherently gives you more early game skirmishing power. Yeah. He is very strong within the first, well, I guess first 11 levels where he's happy to go for these early skirmishes. And I think that's going to be the biggest difference maker, especially once he gets level 6. But KOI, as you rightly said, a lot more scaling and zone control on their side. Meanwhile for Navi, a little bit more side lane threat, a little bit more skirmishing. Gnar and Ryze love to play on those side lanes later on into the game. And we'll see how they navigate through that, because again, in terms of the dragon fights, KOI successfully picked them apart in the previous game.
But in this game, having an MF and a Bard, maybe there's more agency in the bot lane for Navi to actually play through and get them back on the board. It felt like MKOI came into this series with a fantastic read onto Navi that bot was all, bot was king. And even though dragons went to the wayside and Navi got a few, it was a bit late. There was no win con there. There was no stacking that they usually rely on. MKOI came in with a fantastic strategy. And going into game number 2, it's match point in this best of 3. 1 win away from going to Barcelona, from locking in top 3 and getting a free ticket back to Spain. MKOI versus Navi, game 2, and Navi have a lot to prove as our second seed.
And that's what I was going to say. This kind of helps to silence a lot of the doubts that were leveraged at Movistar KOI.
Absolutely.
The regular split wasn't the best, but they had a much better time. And Jojo, definitely, with his 100 games the LEC,
already
has been having a much better time.
I think we can now comfortably say EU mid, right?
EU mid.
He's an EU mid now.
EU mid, he ain't going back.
Maybe we can finally bring back the saying EU mid's man, you know? Perhaps it's time.
I mean, Canada's close enough to Europe anyway, isn't it?
Some parts of it speak French, right? So.
That's right. Some speak French. Some parts speak Irish Canadian accent. So I don't know who say this near America.
But honestly, it's been an absolute joy to have Jojo join the league. He's done nothing but kind of make a name for himself here, and he's definitely risen to the top ranks. Right now, he's looking to, as you rightly said, Jake, earn his team a spot in Spain, at Barcelona, at the Roadshow, hosted by KOI. So it would be pretty cool if KOI was there.
It would be pretty sad if KOI weren't there. So again, a lot of expectations riding on their back now. We did talk a little, or at least I briefly mentioned the lanes. I know, Vedius, you talked about what this Pantheon can do in the early game. But my interest is going to be in bot just simply because I came in today half-cocked with a story to tell about Sam D. Now, they're going to lose level 2. That's okay. Electric came down from Parus, bit of range, sidestep, barrier, heal. That's only Summoners. It's called Summoner's Rift for a reason. I'm talking about this guy while we have a chance. Dagda, you and I have a place close to our heart for Sam D. Reason because he was on that V5 roster in 2020 summer that almost made it to World, that almost got their way through to playoffs, and they lost to Suning back when V5 had Bubu and Weiwei, Mole. But Sam D was on that roster with Peepee God, man, and it was such a glorious time for the league.
But I think it's been super interesting to see his evolution from what he was on V5 into the player he has become. Because when you look back at Victory 5, he was considered kind of just a role player. It was much more about the solo laners on that team and what they could achieve. Sam D kind of just fit the mold. Since leaving there, though, leaving the LPL, basically going worldwide, he has become much more of a threat individually. He has stepped up to be a carry, to be someone that you can invest those resources in, and they're going to do that right now.
And with the magical journey, they want to make sure Sam D's on the board. Alvaro slowed down, but where is the follow-up there? The turn on to Parus even bigger with Gravitum. Parus gets chunked out heavy. Supa does a good job using the last of his mana.
I really like what Rhilech did there. Mundo clear, faster than Pantheon. You've got a little bit of a timing window. Let's try and alleviate some of that pressure on the bottom side. MKOI, though, don't want to give up the crab, but they don't have a choice.
It's running away. The crab is moving up the river, getting out of range of Elyoya, so he doesn't even have a chance to steal it. And now Rhilech can just go where he pleases. He's going to make his way straight through mid lane towards that top river. He's a step ahead of Elyoya, and he will be able to secure that second crab.
Meanwhile, Myrwn, close, stun up, unstoppable of course. Remember, the stun after the Pathmaker means that you still get stunned at the end of the channel, so luckily holds on. And Maynter though, showing his lane lead and showing the dominance of range versus Cassante and how to try and abuse this matchup.
Yeah, Maynter was able to get an early lane lead on the Rumble as well. It didn't really translate into much in the team fights. But so far, this early game, like, while you guys were talking about somebody, I was keeping my eyes on the middle lane, and they've just constantly been trading back and forth, non-stop fighting. He's going to have to flash because Elyoya is going to show up in the middle lane and had that Q connected from Jojo. It would have been a bad situation for Poby. But yeah, those guys were both in, for the record, like, double-digit HP ranges at certain points in that laning phase. It has been an absolute brawl in the middle lane, with neither side really gaining a clear advantage just yet.
Talking about expectations, I mean, Poby's father, this is his champion, right? He's got a high bar to set as Jojo, good sidestepping from the trading as well. The overload just spreads and Jojo gets whacked, but the problem with Anivia is you got to run through the egg. As long as the egg up, you can, I don't know, play the lane a little bit more adventurously. As Jojo did that last game as well. I felt like the matchup against Poby was in his favor, but we were talking about Jojo coming out of the lane with like a 1k gold lead. He's really what elevated KOI at the start of this series.
Certainly has. I mean, they were able to get a lot of early kills on that Azir.
Oh yeah.
Thanks to some of the picks they were able to find, and Navi's taking some suboptimal fights in the river, their coordination off at times. Dragon now makes its way onto the Rift, and obviously not something that we expect both teams to go for immediately, but remember that whole conversation about the 530 spawn, right? About being able to get your jungle smite upgrade. Because of the double crab, you keep your eyes on Mundo. He's actually been able to get it ahead of that 530 mark just because of how quickly he's been clearing through the jungle. Does have that upgraded smite already, and he's just going to start this dragon off straight away.
Well, with Bot getting a push out here in a HP trade, this feels like a pretty sure thing.
I mean, two big double taps there from Sam D right as the dragon spawn meant that they have to back away on that bottom side. Rhilech, again, using this Mundo's power really effectively. And he's off to a great start. Level 6 already, you can see Elyoya. A major CS and experience gap starting to open up there.
So Poby is level 6 now as well, so expect some map movements. Waiting for Elyoya with that gap you talked about in experience. We'll be able to match some of the roams from this mid laner. As quick side note, Jojo got pushed out a bit here, but doesn't have the TP, but we're in a meta
top crab. Look at the top crab. Pink's coming down. Elyoya really wants to grab it. He needs that XP, but with the push in mid and the push on top, the question is going to be, can Elyoya get it fast enough? I feel like the gap between him and Rhilech.
There's no smite on Rhilech though, which is the big thing, which I think is what Elyoya was trying to play for. He should, because the dragon went down.
Very true. Wait. Yoink. Okay, Elyoya stays at 5.
Okay, so again, the XP gap is just going to continue to grow. He should be able to get 6 very soon. But credit to Rhilech using the clear speed of Mundo to just take advantage and gain leads in this early game. This is the trade-off that you're going to have with Mundo versus Pantheon. Pantheon kind of needs to make some stuff happen in the early game because naturally you are going to get outscaled as the game goes on. The good news for KOI, of course, is they have great scaling throughout the rest of their composition. Pantheon's mainly there to act as a bridge. But so far, it is NAVI that has secured the first dragon. They have very comfortable laners. They've been able to build a lead in top lane, and the bot lane 2 versus 2 is dead even. My concern for Navi's comp largely comes from the fact that when I'm thinking of MF, I want a lot of utility or zone control in order to combine her ultimate to help gain space and basically dominate in the team fights. I feel like the composition that they have only really Maynter's ult sets up for that, because Bard's ult kind of counterintuitively, well,
it's
that's not the right word. Yeah, it doesn't work.
Them.
Exactly.
I do agree, but I think when I look at this, I think MF is just the ult bot, but on minion waves. I think she just clears mid wave, and you're like, okay, cool, now Parus, go side lane, do whatever you want, right? And it makes it very difficult for MKOI to try and find success elsewhere on the map as you make those plays. But we'll have to see as the game goes on, because I do agree, Vedi, I think if it gets to team fights, there's like anti-synergy with the two ults in the bottom lane. And the team fight's not going to be the easiest with the rest of the team because of the interview.
Well, we've got a while to find out, though, because we need a few items on the board before we can test that theory of the full 5v5. But at this point, Rhilech is one we're talking about focusing on. CS lead brewing immediately. You can see 80 to 56. Like, Rhilech looking for some deep wards. Right now, Elyoya's on the right side of the map with him, but I mean, Rhilech is taking everything and scaling up himself quite nicely. I wonder if that's unkillable before those items come on for MKOI's scaling comp. is another big factor as well.
Ulti dropped by Supa to help get push in the bot lane. He wants to push this underneath the tower. Rhilech will be spotted. He knows that. He's just going to use his time now to clear out some vision. He's not too concerned about any early skirmishes. He's level 8. Has a full level over Elyoya. Such a healthy camp lead. And yeah, I mean, will he just go straight to Grubs right now? He's going to walk through mid, that's for sure.
I think if he goes Grubs, though, there may be a dive on bot. SamD resetting, Parus spotting out that MKOI trying to get control over River, but yeah, SamD stopped the reset. I think MKOI just looked for the dive, but Navi, are they on vision? I don't think Rhilech has been spotted.
He walks down, just wait. Parus in the bush maybe looks a little bit too sus. They're hovering right now. As ulti under turret, okay, saves. Elyoya makes the commitment, and Parus gets chunked out, but Cosmic Binding gets a double stun from long range. Wild growth used on Elyoya as he flashes away. Rhilech sends a briefcase out, but a bridge too far. SamD's run out of mana for the chase as well, and everyone disengages.
There was a very tense stare down in the bottom lane. SamD was suspicious of a dive. That's why he contemplated the back. Then he realized, okay, well, actually, maybe I'm not being dove. So Rhilech and Parus, they're staying in the area, but they're also kind of in the middle of looking to try and go back to base. The moment that Pantheon is spotted, Parus goes, okay, got to throw this ultimate down sooner rather than later. Rhilech quickly rotates down to the bot side, but both sides clearly aware of what could happen. Ultimately, though, it's Elyoya who burns his flash.
So one summon of the trade. Quick side note, bit of proxying happening there from Maynter. His wave, I believe, helped under turret, so don't think he'll lose that cannon.
Also just some information gained by the K'Sante as well as he moved out. Raptor is up and available, so you know the Mundo's going to be on the top side. So Elyoya doesn't try and steal a grub, just takes the Scuttle Crab instead. But Myrwn, I think, does need to reset, I believe, as I think he's a reset down.
But, I mean, Maynter just hovering the lane. Observers, I wonder if we can go back top, because Maynter's just channeling him out. And you look at where the wave is as well, slow pushing. So Myrwn will just have to backtrack, but Dagda's got no TP. I know you're talking about reset timings here. Maynter has a TP advantage right now. Grubs is still up, but Dragon's coming up in 10 seconds. Navi on the bridge of the second here, and a couple of resets at a time with Rhilech, SamD, and Parus, or rather, Poby and Parus coming out of base together.
The TP highlight is the most important thing about this Dragon, simply because Maynter staying in lane means that he's ready to join for this fight, knowing that Myrwn can't. So KOI have to respect that Navi's guaranteed numbers advantage, and keep your eyes on the minimap and watch Maynter observers also highlighting it for you as well. This rotation down from Maynter to catch the mid wave means that Ryze can actually stay mids, and if K'Sante stays top lane to push another wave, then he can just TP back to bot. Now that there was no contest from KOI, he should feel comfortable being able to catch that top wave, and then he can use his TP as he sees fit.
It's also with the path in the Maynter took, he walked past the front of Void Grubs, so knows there is no cross map happening right now for Elyoya. So as Navi, you know that you're safe to go, okay, more than likely Pantheon is clearing their bot side and now going to move back to top. Also, there was the ward in the enemy jungle, which would have spotted him out too. So Navi, at least good early control here. And this is much more like the games we see from Navi where they're able to take over.
Wondering if there can be any punishment here. Maynter's about to get into ulti. Myrwn was hovering in brush, but Elyoya didn't actually have his up till about now. But again, I do wonder how they're going to deal with the Gnar. As while top is burning down a bit, remember Grubs are still up, but MKOI have no interest. Playing towards bot again just means that Navi can also leave this Gnar isolated in the 1v1 top.
Maynter, I feel, is long overdue a base. I have to imagine. Actually, I can just check.
Yeah, you got the tool.
Yeah,
What's the money?
1.2k gold he's sitting on right now, give or take.
0.3 for Myrwn as well.
Okay.
So, yeah, both of them kind of needed the reset. I think in this situation, though, for Navi, like, Maynter, you're happy to just keep the lane in the position it's in.
Yep.
Myrwn isn't in the best spots, hasn't really got a huge amount. You can see Maynter just happy to keep going, as Rhilech just going to keep farming away. Very sizable gold lead for him.
Next wave coming in. Myrwn has TP up in a couple of cycles, but he's not going to be able to use it. Rhilech, as you said, Grub's going to be taken. Now looking for the invade off the back of top prio. This top jungle, I mean, right now making magic happen. Let's see if they can do anything about Myrwn.
Level 11. Ult's available now. Not quite available for Maynter.
Cleaver into a HP stacker. Very nice. Heart steal 4-3. Ulti used by Myrwn just to flash away. Still hit with the cleaver and the hop. Gets a double bounce. Elyoya hovering over the side as Rhilech pops the ulti, but still first blood is there. Navi play it cool as a cucumber.
Elyoya was in the area, but to me it looked like the comm had already been, you can't save me, Elyoya, there's no point.
Yeah.
But then Myrwn did all this damage to the Mundo, and then Elyoya's like, oh, wait,
Maybe.
actually, I think maybe we could have taken this, but then he was too late. Meanwhile, trading going the favor of KOI in the bottom lane. This Aphelios continuing to get stronger, built himself up a bit of a small lead, but Navi now holding on to a very sizable lead as they secure first tower in the top lane.
That's 1.8k now for Maynter in this top side. He is doing work with the counter pick up here. And you're not really getting too much elsewhere for MKOI. We kind of talked about like where they've been positioned on the map. It's been Rhilech kind of using these small timing windows, thanks to the faster clear, that he's managed to pick up objectives or these little punishes. And it's kind of Elyoya hoping to pick up a pace or pick up a kill somewhere.
Yep.
But with no real setup in the lanes for a gank with the ultimate, it's making it very difficult for this Pantheon to find value in the early stages.
I feel like that one gank bot, you know, Parus's ulti on the turret as well to delay Sam D and stop Elyoya from the flash. It made a big difference in this game. The stymie effect that has come through from Navi has really changed the pace.
But it's also just a great read from Rhilech. He kind of fakes going up towards that top side to void grubs, and you're like, oh, of course he's going to go and take them because he's going to have the faster clear, but doubles back, stays out of the vision of MKOI. Like, really well played and good heads up as to what they wanted to do.
I did realize, like, he kind of walked out of the void grubs while it was 1 HP. But what you do is you walk all the way up to that tribe bush, as you're saying, and then you smite it as late as possible when you're already in the tribe. And then the notification doesn't
Flash
get
away
through.
from Rhilech, by the way.
Smart.
Elyoya looking for the chase up. Supa's on the way as well. 4 members onto the blue buff, and they get a summoner out of this Mundo. Crystallized wall in the way too, and MKOI using the invade as a team, as a unit, to make sure they get something back. Crystallized is good, not bad. Poby gets a roost over in prison, another cleaver. Jojo holds on to the egg for now. Navi looking for the chase here, and Supa's on the way for the flank. The Crystallized will once again onto Rhilech. Magical journey, he won't be able to take it. And instead, Parus has to flash away with a shutdown. Go to Elyoya. Over the wall, Poby still followed up. Comet Spear there, flash away. Realm Warp, Navi have to go, go, go. And out the back door they've run as MKOI find themselves some momentum.
This is the power of the Pantheon in the early game. They'd already gotten the flash out from Rhilech, and a beautifully placed wall from Jojo meant that Rhilech had nowhere to go. Bard tried his best to save him, but when you're locked in that situation with a numbers advantage to KOI, they find themselves a kill.
You can see, though, that on this replay, Rhilech was hesitant about going in there, waits a little while. They don't actually want to follow up because Sam D has already moved back towards mid. So MKOI with the push, we're able to move into position. And as you say, a great wall from Jojo. The CC's there. And only the fact that Poby barely manages to flash over the wall and start this Realm Warp, it's that Navi can actually escape.
It's a really big play for MKOI. Finally gets them on the board, despite gold still being in Navi's favor. We come back to live, and Poby's going to slow onto Elyoya, teleport in, and the fighting begins again. Jojo about to turn into a giant egg as he flashes over the wall. Magical journey for the follow-up as well. Poby gets the room prison down, but again the wall of Maynter's about to go Mega Gnar, but they won't let him. The CC chain from MKOI keeps him in place. Tempered Fate stops and engage, but Elyoya flashes forward and Parus wants the magical journey out, but again, they won't let him. MKOI so good at saying no.
A huge polymorph from Alvaro in the middle of that fight onto Maynter. Denies the setup that Navi were playing for, and MKOI can turn it around.
KOI's response to a lot of these skirmishes is clean and clinical. Navi think that they have caught these KOI players out of position, but it is Navi who are often punished. That healthy gold lead that Navi had been able to build now dwindled to a mere 300 as KOI equalizes the game and they get some big gold onto their key carries.
I see it here. So they try to make the pick onto Poby, but there's no one really in the lane. Jojo trying to go for the flank, but Jojo ends up getting caught out then in the middle of this. But keep your eyes as Maynter comes in. He's auto-attacking Elyoya to build up that rage bar, but then stun into another stun into the polymorph. That man does not get to play the game despite that rage bar being filled. And that's what sets up then with a flash from Elyoya onto another kill off the back.
Very well executed from KOI. And I think there was that moment of hesitation for Navi where they turned their attention onto Jojo, he flashed over the wall, and then they turned their attention back onto Elyoya. I wonder if they'd committed onto Elyoya earlier, if that had actually given them enough time.
Ooh, flying bird, okay. Well, chickens can indeed do it. As caught out as Parus, that mega blast cone. Along with Elyoya again, they're just flying.
This Pantheon is doing some serious work now. Before, he was supposed to be this bridge, and in the early game, he really wasn't bridging that much. But now that the skirmishes have started being unlocked on the map and Navi keep getting caught, MKOI are finding a bunch of kills on the map.
Hang on a minute, Myrwn now has to run away. That's a fast Poby. He's going to clear the wave with it as well with the overload. Myrwn running for his life. Poby doesn't have flash though, and nor does he have the follow-up damage, but this guy does. Rhilech means business as he runs on in, thinks about it, thinks better, takes the Krugs instead.
Yeah, just knows that he's not going to be able to do too much there. Myrwn will be able to escape. Does give Poby at least a little bit of alone time on this bottom side. Still though, it's kind of that dragon pickup for MKOI, which is helping them to be in a decent spot.
Oh.
They're not fully out of the side lane pressure either, where they can match on some of these side lanes. So for MKOI, what started off as a very good game for Navi, they're now starting to pull back in with some creative plays on side lanes.
They're all going to be using mid in the meantime though, and side lanes be damned. Navi going to run it down mid. 3 members of MKOI stand here to defend. Well, the Anivia is not there, and that's a major wave clear right now. Mid still standing though, and Herald can't get the job done. Meanwhile, as mid holds on, side waves in Myrwn. He's just taking it down himself, down to one last plate in this outer turret bot.
The gold is dead even, but I really think this ultimately favors KOI.
Yeah.
This mid tower isn't long for this world.
Supa kites it out. Oh my, I mean, this guy got some dancing slippers on tonight.
The bonus movement speed that Alvaro provides means that Supa is a scary man working towards that Infinity Edge second. Once he gets it, I mean, Supa is going to be fully online. This Aphelios is becoming scarier and scarier. Elyoya, though, he fancies a bit of a fight.
Cosmic Binding. Maynter has no Mega Gnar, though, and MKOI say, yeah, we'll take the fight with the Lulu as well. Slowed down with the Make It Rain, and Sam D just wants to set up the bullet time, but Cosmic Binding doesn't connect a second time. Myrwn has an angle. The angle of the gods right now. The flash, the pass maker, again! The no button launches. MKOI get another. Rhilech lose the passive, and now goes a little bit crazy. Navi have to retreat. And MKOI's chain of CC is unbearable to watch.
MKOI closed the door on the magical journey for Maynter. They find the pick, and that will lead to them getting a good amount of damage onto this mid lane turret as well.
When we think about Navi as a team, a lot of their success has come through control and neutral objective play. But as we talked about in the previous game, KOI don't feel trapped in that playstyle. They're happy to skirmish anywhere. Realm is going to come through onto
Magical Journey needs to come through now. Parus are going to set it up, and you need a Cosmic Binding, but Elyoya is going to leap towards the Raptors, and Alvaro just speeds himself up.
So look at what's happening as a result of this. So you have a situation where an engage is coming down onto mid lane, but then in the bot lane, the wave gets pushed in. You had 2 people that have just gone back to base in both the Aphelios and the Cassante, and so while this play is happening from Navi, where they're kind of feeling desperate to make something happen on the map, KOI, calm, calculated, doing what they can to put pressure down on the rest of the map so that when they reset back out, they now have much bigger of an advantage. The reset still hasn't come through. Now it's happening for Parus, which means that with 45 seconds on the Dragon, KOI has all of this extra time to set up on the Drake. And again, like, this is where I think we're starting to see some of the experience difference really come through between the teams.
And then you got 2 items completed almost across the board here for MKOI as well, with Jojo just having reset, picked up his Archangel Staff, Supa with that Infinity Edge as well. Sam D only now resetting, should be able to get back out in time, but it does mean MKOI can get push on mid and starting out to play for both objectives on either side of the map.
Well, 15 seconds for the Drake, and Sam D also just picked up an Infinity Edge on that base as well. 2 items, and Navi really need to get that clock turning again in their favor, and it does feel like we talked about the engage and the setup for the Misfortune. We have not seen a 5-on-5 really yet. We've seen MKOI quicker to the punch, set up for the disengage, or rather stopping the disengage from Navi. And now as Dragon starts again, the condition that Navi wanted to play towards is going out the window. This Dragon's going to be done before anyone gets on in. Pivot fake from Parus. Not yet. Dragon goes down. MKOI take it. 2 for 2 yet again in the second game.
Navi need to get out though. Look at topside. That's all they're playing for. They just want to keep MKOI here so they can get Maynter that tower topside. He ends up picking it up. But how long can they delay?
They get the bird, but is it really enough? Elyoya zones out so Rhilech can't walk in. 5 members of MKOI hold the line. Maynter's going to get side turret push, so teleport coming through, not interrupted. And Navi like, who else can we stop in the meantime?
But look at the bot side as well. This is where Navi now are playing off of multiple different angles of attack.
But you can't play that and then get caught out. Rhilech gets the bell rung for himself. Magical Journey, and he is out, but he had to flash. A couple of summoners getting burned here off the back end of MKOI. Yes, gold goes over to Navi, but Remember that dragon stacking's out the window, and there are some punishable offenses coming up next.
Credit to NAVI for making the best out of a bad situation. Because they were late on the setup around that neutral, the best thing they could do is cross-map. The fact that Maynter got a tower and Poby got a tower gives them a huge tower advantage. It's 4-0. There's a lot of standing gold for KOI to grab. And so while that gold is close, NAVI have to be very cautious, because if you lose a big fight, that gold swing is going to be that much bigger just because there's so much for KOI to claim on the map.
MKOI have to be careful though, because if you over-index into trying to get some of that gold, that's where you can use the fact that Maynter has that TP advantage, Poby has that realm warp to very quickly move over towards things like Baron. So I think that's where MKOI are going to kind of have to take it easy for the next little while until they wait for some of those summoner spells to match the roaming plays.
And NAVI, bot lane.
Yeah, they have the push here.
But Fade in range here. Maynter's about to run out of the Mega Gnar. Elyoya going to be spotted on this wall, but Alvaro's nearby, so as he takes it, he has the support not too far away. NAVI trying to back off. Cosmic Binding shows that they're there, and Jojo's trying to abuse it. The Crystalline Ice Wall was down, but NAVI had a Blast Cone to get them out of dodge.
This is a game where those Blast Cones have been really impactful, I feel.
Changing the game,
often we talk about the environmental effects of the souls not really having the greatest of impact. Sometimes the mountain walls on occasion having some impact, but really these empowered fruits around the rift really making a difference here. The funniest one probably was the bird flying over into the mid-lane.
Melee bird was very exciting as Maynter again going to hop out. He's going into Mega, but Elyoya's off on the wing. Meanwhile, Rhilech is making it a play topside. Vedi, you couldn't have called it better. The plant comes in clutch.
Ooh.
Smite tries to get the cleaver. I think the mistime was there, but there's no turret here. There's no turret here, and there's a HP cleaver ready to be thrown. Myrwn needs to flip out as... Hang on, who's there at the phone? We pause. Myrwn gets out. Alvaro by the side. And they couldn't find the finishing blow to maybe open up for a potential Baron.
Does give them a lot of control over this topside jungle still, though, and I think that's really what they're playing for. Like, try and push in on top. You have Poby, who can then try and realm warp over towards the mid lane if you want to. And Supa's been playing very far up in this lane, and look at the collapse.
He can indeed. Parus has Tempered Fate available, but NAVI are on the collapse himself. Realm warp into this 2v4. Tempered Fate, no, dodged again for the flash. Poby won't let him out as finally the bullet time comes in, but it does nothing. Healed up for the movement speed as MKOI are running for their life. A bone skewer to set up and get the slow onto Elyoya. Maynter, though, he's running for his life. He's almost dead. Meanwhile, the Inferno burns him down, but not enough damage yet. If Supa was 5-10 more minutes into the game, that could have been different.
The collapse from NAVI catches out Elyoya. It was Supa who was pushed up far. We already looked at the position here with Maynter. Was sitting in that river, kind of playing access to the wave and to a potential collapse. And at least NAVI still showing that there's life in them, yes.
I mean, I think that NAVI have to try and be proactive, but I was about to comment before this play about how it felt like they were getting more and more map control. This, though, the problem is there's not much they can convert off the back of this. In an ideal world, they could turn this into a Baron, but Supa, again, this ulti does so much damage to the backline. NAVI say, we can't go Baron. We really can't, because our HP is too low. And while that was all happening, a bot wave once again gets pushed in, and that first tower is finally secured for KOI.
Crucially as well, Supa holds on to the flash. He only used the ghost to escape and some speed ups from Alvaro, which means for this next dragon fight in 50 seconds, he still has that tool available if Maynter tries to go for an engage. If Poby ends up trying to find some sort of flank, he can keep himself significantly safer, especially because at this stage, like Lulu doesn't have access to some of the cleanses that you need to keep this Aphelios safe.
Here's what I'll say. So while KOI do have a number of towers available on the map to help close that gold gap, right now NAVI do have that gold lead. And that's resulted in an actualizer being finished for Poby. The two mages that are sitting on their double mana items have been completed, and also AD carries are working towards that third core item. So this late game team fighting style game that we knew we were heading towards is nearing its approach.
Done. Okay, it is a Mundo. They're going to take a little bit while. Tempered Fate gets Elyoya mid-swing. But Rhilech is healthy and okay, but that is two ultis from NAVI right before Dragon spawns.
Exactly, the timing is crucial. Really nice play onto Rhilech, forcing his ult out and forcing him away from this objective means that NAVI cannot contest. But can they contest the Baron?
TP coming in immediately. Poby from the other side of the map. Dragon's been halted for the time being. As Baron starts off, this Gnar's going to do some good on-hit damage, but MKOI are on the chase.
You still need these ultimates to come back up and available. Keep your eyes on Maynter. He'll have to be the main engage tool.
They're going to run away. Myrwn's TP changes everything at 10k, now 9 as Sandy does a cheeky hit and run. MKOI have an angle though, and Navi's health bar dangerous. If they take this part, they can be punished.
Aphelios on mid-wave. That's what MKOI are playing for. Keep them at bay. Barely Mundo gets over the wall there.
Good damage as Poby tries to run down Supa. MKOI run together as a pack. Myrwn is isolated. He's still here. He feels confident though, but a Gnar bar is on the way. Myrwn looking for the flip into his team. Flash away is Maynter. He gets out with his summoner over the wall, but Navi weren't nearby. That was a small mistake that could have been costly.
The shield from the TP of Myrwn was so scary to look at. Maynter thought that he'd found an angle, but now the TP back in. Has Maynter found a flank?
Okay, observers are trying to keep up. Yo, shout out to them. This is a hard game.
They're trying so hard to buy time for the ultimates. Now a Navi in position. Maynter is close on the Gnar bar, but he needs to go soon. Can auto either of these fruits
the pings are
to get
coming
himself
down.
there.
Does it, as you said, there's the angle. Navi run back and try to give him some room. Maynter's who you should be watching, looking for the Gnar against the wall. He won't find it. He's polymorphed again. Alvaro might have saved the game. Tepid fate, and the ulti from Supa. Gnar comes in, but it's too late. Bullet time looks good, but Elyoya is in the way. Poby gets zoned off, while the rest of the fight is Supa again in the same damn place. Supa gets not two, but almost a third. MKOI, like this bot side river, they've adapted to Navi.
Rhilech managed to get the steal in the midst of all of it though. The dragon goes to Navi, but MKOI immediately turn over towards the Baron. There just wasn't enough. MKOI's team fighting is too strong.
What a series from Alvaro. That polymorph has been so game-changing. Maynter just has been unable to play. How many times now have we seen this man die simply due to polymorph? While they do lose the dragon, KOI will secure the Baron. And as we look back at this play, all eyes are on Maynter. He's looking for the flank. And if we can just keep our eyes on the Lulu, tracking him as he goes in for the play, the polymorph, the stun, the chain CC, beautifully done by Alvaro.
Just never gives them a chance to react. Even the frame of mind to clear out all the vision and move into the bush just makes it so hard for Navi really to know what they're dealing with. Everything executed well.
I will W him. I W him.
Okay.
Yes.
And he did.
And he did W him.
He did W him. W Alvaro. I mean, again, 2 games in a row. If this is not setting up for a series MVP, then I don't think people have been watching the same game I have. 1.4k gold lead. Dagda, as you highlighted, Dragon was taken by Navi. That's a condition in this game, but it is a Chemtech Soul versus the Baron Onslaught that's going to put gold in the pockets of MKOI.
It's also great to see Alvaro performing like this because so much of the conversation is shifted into guys like Bucio for best support in the league. Alvaro has been at the forefront of that discussion for such a long period of time, and seeing him put in performances like this is why he's part of that discussion.
I also think that we've been seeing a lot of range supports from him this year, and range supports for me have always been a big question mark for him, but he has been getting better and better throughout this split. His Nami as well, on equal levels of his Lulu, and you can tell that the practice is really paying off.
Well, the scaling has come into effect. Supa alongside him, who's had great team fight after team fight in both games now. 4 items on this Aphelios. Scaling, I think, is no longer a question, but just a remark of how MKOI have entered this second game at the 30-minute mark now. As inner turret goes down, Maynter trying to play with a Gnar bar, but MKOI aren't going to be over-eager in this situation, and they pull back.
Parus needs to be careful.
On the Parus, they want him.
Oh my god!
Okay. 8 carries a week.
Said no one ever.
I was going to say, do you know what? I come into a game and go, oh, Aphelios has 4 items. He's weak.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about it.
Don't worry about that. Look, I mean, granted, Supa is mega fed, but it has definitely been a Supa diff. It's been a bot lane diff, I feel like, in this series so far.
Absolutely.
And even though Rhilech in 2 games in a row, I can't remember the last game if you got an early lead, but Elyoya was definitely more proactive in the early game in game 1. But in the second game, it just feels like he's everywhere. And it's not even him using his ulti. Elyoya is in the right place at the right time every damn time.
I do think that Rhilech had a fantastic early game. It felt like he was outmaneuvering Elyoya a lot, and he built his own individual lead. Just in the skirmishes, Elyoya just straight up got the better of it.
I think it's also when I think of Navi performing well, it's Samdi on something that can be a carry. That's not what I look at Misfortune as. This is kind of more pseudo-utility early game. and now you're struggling when you get to the late game.
Tempered Fate, Supa there, but bullet time, there's the anti-synergy we talked about, but Poby tries to bring it back. Alvaro almost dead, and his angle is supreme, setting up for Poby. That's what they need to do with MKOI in a dangerous spot. Again, it's spreading all the damage, but they launch onto Poby. He goes golden, and now Parus taking the damage from Jojopyun as Poby tries to guide it back. Alvaro flashes away. MKOI on the breach of death, but they like those odds. Myrwn slowing down and taking no damage himself as the Cosmic Binding keeps him in place, and NAVI try to strike, but from afar, this bird of prey zoning out as flash away is Myrwn. MKOI think, no, maybe this fight's too much as NAVI are on the chase.
Myrwn makes mini Maynter disappear in that one, not able to follow through in the rest of it. And with that, MKOI back away. They don't get the tower, but that was very close to being a disaster.
That was... that could have been. And the reason why it could have been is just because with the dragon spawning in 30 seconds, KOI took a very big risk contesting Navi as extensively as they did. Now Navi will get prio around this bot river. The bot wave has already been pushed in. They've started pushing in the wave in mid as KOI make their way back out onto the map. Notice how Elyoya and Myrwn stacking together, that core front line that will help them gain access into the river. Myrwn's going to be the first to approach. And now with the push that they've garnered in mid, they're grouped as a 5-stack.
The damage coming out, Maynter nowhere nearby. He's down in bot with the 3-item Gnar, trying to get to the Mega Gnar bar. He's getting
good vision from Alvaro,
again.
though. He's tracking for the flank.
It's that ward, it's that double ward. One control ward spots two. MKOI sitting in river, trying to run down and set up the fight, but Poby's angle is there as well. Navi are not pushing this too hard and fast. They want to take it nice and slow at 6k. MKOI are like, okay, we're going to take the dragon as Maynter goes into Mega Gnar. That's a big takeaway from Myrwn as Poby on the edge of the fight as well.
Maynter's TP into the opposite side. He wants to get in.
One's going now. Tempered Fate is there. Maynter's going to wait. The bullet time, no one ever comes out.
Polymorph again.
Polymorph once more. Mega Gnar, but doesn't hit a wall. Parus has to flash out. And again, look who's doing the business. Running forward is Poby. And the setup from Samd was good as well. But Jojo, as he gets flashed on, he's doing so much from his own damn wall. MKOI somehow still alive as Alvaro lived through it all. And Rhilech, as he runs back. Remember, Dragon still stands.
How the hell did KOI turn that fight?
Running back, Rhilech is dead. Polymorph again. Alvaro, how the hell did he survive that fight?
With Supa dying, I thought that the fight was over, but this time it was Jojo that steps up to the plate. The Dragon, the TP, everyone is getting collapsed on from KOI. Good idea from Navi. Now they can get onto the carries, but again, the polymorph makes it impossible. The bullet time is quite promising, but Supa dies.
Okay.
Look at how low KOI get when the front line falls. This should have been a one fight, but then Jojo comes up clutch.
Maynter actually ulting Jojo into a safer position in that fight. Ends up then setting up for him to be able to kite back. And Navi just can't follow through. Jojo on the Anivia. Huge in those walls, huge in the damage, and May now have just held on to the game for MKOI.
We've already seen it this split, but it wasn't this big flashy game. It was so set up for the team fighting, and he's doing it again. Here, MKOI on the Dragon, rather Baron with the perfect guns for Supa. Baron's going to go down. Yes, MKOI will move to 3,500, a little bit more than that. But this game is not done yet. Dragon may go down, but Soul is anyone's game. While it does feel like MKOI have scaled, we have seen that some of these fights are getting close, with Poby's damage creeping up more and more on this 4-item Ryze as well.
But I feel like that fight was Navi's best chance.
Yeah.
Like that was the fight that was gonna swing it. And I mean, the GA was huge. If Pantheon didn't have that GA, he would have fallen, and then it could have been a 2 versus 2 with which Navi may have been able to win. But again, the way in which they're approaching these fights, it feels like KOI is making it so difficult, even if they do find those flanks.
And it's only more difficult now with the Mikhail's picked up for Alvaro. So even if you do manage to find that miracle engage where you bypass the stuns, you bypass the polymorph, well then you still have
Supa's alone.
safety.
And there we go, Poby coming in the realm morph. Again, you just can't hit him as they're just taking a free Poby for the time being. Wild Growth comes through, Poby running it back, but he's dead. Supa's played the range, and with Calirum, he's going to play the rest of the fight. Navi walked in, but they need to call the ambulance the opposite way around. We're looking for Elyoya. Where's this guy? Where is this guy? Okay, Elyoya running in. On to Parus. Magical Journey. Parus is out on the back end. Elyoya looking for the chase. Maynter needs a Mega Gnar to contribute to this fight. He runs up, bullet time in the way, but Elyoya puts a shield out. Maynter gets close, Derek's Gage helps out. Myrwn taking on Parus. Sandy gets one shot, grabbing him to the ground. NAVI, you're not in Kansas anymore. You're not even in Pandora. I don't know where they're going, but down to the lower bracket as MKOI have a date back in their home country. They're going back to Spain.
Systematic destruction as KOI tear NAVI apart. That's going to be a clean ace. Jojo has been pushing in topside this whole time. I don't know if they can actually end just yet. This Anivia isn't exactly pushing super fast, but my goodness, KOI, they came to play today. They came to make a statement as they dominate NAVI in this series.
What a performance from MKOI. The TP back in from Jojo. They want to end this right now. It's Poby versus the world.
And the world is going to win. A wall in his way. 5 members of MKOI will stay and Poby down in the dirt. It is MKOI hosting in Barcelona after all. Why would they not be there at their own party as they slap NAVI across the face, move into the top 3, and remind us to look dead in the eyes at our upcoming talent.
MKOI being very, very clear on who they're letting into their house party. And NAVI tried to show up without an invitation and they just turned them away.
KOI will secure themselves a spot in Barcelona. What an incredible series from them. Super strong performances. And I mean, Supa was fantastic in game 1, and naturally eyes would be drawn towards him in game 2, but Alvaro, 0-0, 19 on the Lulu, 100% KP, a phenomenal performance in game 2. That bot lane really showed up today.
Elyoya, Supa, Alvaro, who you can vote for, by the way, and it's a hard task. And I said at the end, upcoming talent, it just feels to me, again, like it's been, what, 3 years now? How many years? 3, 4 years? Like,
this is their 3rd year of the KOI roster. Yeah.
It's because we've had these dynasties, legacies, you know, battles by G2 and Fnatic in the past, but it really is MKOI consistently showing up. Like, we throw that in the bin and we remind ourselves that MKOI are going to Barcelona, they're top 3 once again.